Hi everyone, welcome to another 15 cards where we're going to be revisiting a product I'd opened way back in the early days of the channel. This is From the Vaults Legend, so we did a little bit of a run through just the three From the Vaults sets that I had. These actually were quite difficult to come by at the time, but interestingly enough, and I'm not quite sure why, the Legends one wasn't that difficult to obtain, and I don't think the price at the time went up too egregiously like some of the others. So as with all the other ones, you can see they've got this sort of all foil, and it's quite different from foil that we'd seen up to then. Just to show you what's on the back there, I'll include a link to the original unboxing as well, because there's probably stuff in that unboxing that I may have mentioned which I'm not going to mention necessarily in this video. So yeah, all legendaries. And at the end I'll adjust the camera and try and show you the internal leaflet which is in the back here. Let me take that out now so I don't forget. So we'll open that up. I'll try and do a better job than I did on the first video for that. There's the spin down counter for this. Where's the set symbol? There we go. You can see that. So I'll give it the usual treatment with this. We'll go through, zoomed out. I'll talk through the cards, and then we will have a look close up. These are remarkably, or relatively speaking, straight. But they've still got that weird, what do I tend to call it? Screen flare or lens flare when you have them on the camera, which I know can be a little annoying, so I'll try and position these as best as I can. Okay, so we've got Viscera the Dreadful, 3 black, it's a 5/5. Legendary creature Gorgon with flying, destroy target creature, it can't be regenerated. There we go. Sharum the Hegemon, 3 white, blue, black, 5/5. Legendary artifact creature Sphinx, flying. When Sharum the Hegemon enters the battlefield, you may return target artifact creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Sorry. It's interesting on these as well, and I don't know if this was the case with all of the cards or just the ones that I happened to get here. The text in the this area here, it always looks a little bit splodgy to me, and I don't know if that's just a side effect of the foiling or what was going on there. And the selection of cards is interesting, as when we look through the insert we'll see what sets these came from. So San Juan, Lord of Wu, 4/2 blue, it's a 4/4 legendary creature, human soldier. And creatures you control have horsemanship. They can't be blocked except by creatures with horsemanship. Teferi, Mage of Zulfa, 2/3 blue, 3/4 legendary creature, human wizard. It's got flash. Creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield have flash. Each opponent can cast spells only any time he or she could cast a sorcery. Ulamog, the Infinite Gaia, is in here. 11 to cast. It's a 10/10 legendary creature Eldrazi. When you cast Ulamore of the Infinite Gaia, destroy target permanent, annihilate a 4. Whenever this creature attacks, defending player sacrifices 4 permanents. Ulamog is indestructible. When Ulamog is put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles his or her graveyard into his or her library. So if you've ever played against any form of, I suppose, Eldrazi with Annihilator, once they start coming online, yeah, it's super annoying with all your permanents getting sacrificed. Rafik the Many. 1 green, white, blue. 3/3 legendary creature, human knight with exalted. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. I'm just curious about the date on these because it was, 2011? So that would have been, in the early days of the Commander product as well. Crash the Blood Braided, 2 black, red, green. It's a 3/3 legendary creature, human warrior. Whenever another creature dies, you may put X/1/1 counters on Crash the Blood Braided, where X is that creature's power. Omnath the Locust Mana, 2 and a green 1/1, legendary creature elemental. Green mana doesn't empty from your mana pool as steps and phases end. Omnath, Locus of Mana, gets +1/+1 for each green mana in your mana pool. Una, Queen of the Fae, 3, and then blue-black, blue-black, blue-black hybrid. Legendary creature, fairy wizard. It's got flying, it's 5/5. X and then blue-black hybrid. Choose a colour. Target opponent exiles the top X cards of his or her library. For each card of the chosen colour exiled this way, put a 1/1 blue and black fairy rogue creature token with flying onto the battlefield. Oh, I forgot Progenitors was in here. Okay, Progenitors. 2 white, 2 blue, 2 black, 2 red, 2 green. Legendary creature, Hydra Avatar. It's a 10/10 with protection from everything. If Progenitors would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal Progenitors and shuffle it into its owner's library instead. Makius the Lunarch. X and a white, legendary creature, human cleric, 0/0. Makius the Lunarch enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. Tap, put a 1/1 counter on Makius. Remove a 1/1 counter from Makius. Put a 1/1 counter on each other creature you control. Captain Sisay, 2 green, white, 2/2 legendary creature, human soldier. Tap, search your library for a legendary card. Reveal that card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Of course, Dawn's Siege Tower was in here as well. So, black, green, white, legendary creature, Tree Folk Shaman, 0/5. Each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker, 2 and 3 red. Legendary creature, Goblin Shaman. It's a 2/2 with haste. Put a token that's a copy of target non-legendary creature you control onto the battlefield. That token has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Kiao Lord of Wei. 3, 2 black, it's a 3/3 legendary creature, human soldier. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Activate this ability only during your turn before attackers are declared. And that is it. So let's zoom in and see what we can see without getting too much lens flare here, hopefully. But I don't think that's inevitable with this. It's interesting actually that I think out of all of the three that I have, these cards are the ones that have culled the least. So I'm just going to try and capture the different shades of colour here on the foiling, rather than, I suppose, focus too much on what might be in the artwork. But hopefully as I'm doing this you'll see stuff pop, and if I do notice anything that might not be clear, I'll point it out. There you go. Oh well, this looks pretty dramatic. Now if you're familiar with other versions of this, you might notice that for several of these cards the artwork's a little bit different. Some of these at the time, you know, as well, where these are, and we'll see, you know, where they were reprinted from, but probably the first time they've been reprinted, and also the first time they would have appeared in foil or available in foil. There we go. So I picked up two there by mistake. Whoops. Yeah, it is really interesting that the foiling on here is quite different. That's really popping nicely from that angle. Oh, here we have Ulamog. So what's the other case, I think that, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, that with the Eldrazi cards, which were from, Rise of the Eldrazi, around that period, were they the first cards, I think, where the artwork sort of extended beyond the central art area and sort of bled out to signify just how huge they were? Which is nice, because any foil version of them, you get interesting foiling. Well, textures is the right word, but I think you know what I mean. Like, often with the cards when they're foiled, unless there's a watermark down in this area, things don't always pop. But it'd be interesting to see what the Eldrazi look like in regular foil. I'll have to see if I've got any actually. I'm thinking about doing a few more sort of all foil episodes, and I'll see what I can dig out. Certainly when we get up to around the time of the traditional Yuletide video, I will be looking at foil lands. It's Crash. So I remember the time when I was picking this up, and like I said, certainly, where I was in Nova Scotia, these didn't seem to be flying off the shelves like, what was it, the very first one that came out. And so, as I said, this is fairly easy to get hold of. And I was thinking, oh, this is in it, and that card's in it, and wow, that legendary's in it as well. And of course, quite a few of these ended up in the, like the Commander product. Some pretty interesting stuff going on in the background. This might be one of the busier ones so far. And we have Omnath. There's been several pretty interesting Omnath legendaries. over the years. What's going on? Yeah, difficult to see really. It's one of those cards where, like I pointed out before, where there's different shades of the same colour. Can almost be quite tricky on camera. Oh, there we go. Progenitors. I'm trying to think if I've got like a the original version of this. This is pretty interesting because in the original we know that the progenitors is almost like shrouded to some degree. I mean, you can see what's going on there, but it's very much obscured by clouds, I suppose. Whereas here, it's a little more prominent. That's another thing. Is that a little? Oh, look, something here almost looks like some sort of symbol. There you go. I don't know if that's coming out. Might just be an unintentional anomaly. But yeah, I should go through hydras as part of Scryfall shenanigans. That would be pretty interesting. There we go. I imagine this would look pretty cool with rigger foiling. I'm trying to remember if, Captain Sisay was that printed in a commander deck, at least one? Yeah, not sure. Oh yeah, it's a pretty good angle there. Are we getting this? That's cool. Yeah, it's helping because I think these are the least curved, and to be honest with you, it doesn't take much of a curve on these particular ones to get it doing a lot of flaring. It's interesting there, look, as we're moving it, can you see the eyes? Very cool. Oh, there he is. These look good in the foil, actually. The style of artwork looks very nice. Okay, so let me just move the ever-present cheese board and reposition this slightly, and we'll have a look at the insert here. See how far I can zoom out without getting too much of the rest of my rubbish that's on my filming deck. Okay. Now these all had. Hang on. Where are we? So there's one side here. So yes, okay, goes into a bit of detail about legends, the history of legends in Magic. Okay, cool. The legend set with the Light Saga, some changes related to the type. Elder Dragons rise again. It's even got a reference to that 1996 article entitled Elder Dragon Legend Wars. Okay, have we got, has that worked out quite well? Let me just see if I can, that's about as far as I can zoom out. That's not too bad. Let me angle, there we go, look at that. Isn't that good? Right, so we've got Cow Cow Lord of Way, or however you say that. That was it, Portal of Three Kingdoms. Captain Sisay from Invasion. Dawn the Siege Tower of Lorwyn. Jiki Mirrorbreaker, of course, from Champions of Kamigawa. Crash the Blood Braided, that would be Shards of Alara. Mykiss the Lunar, Innistrad. And there was wasn't there a white version of Mykiss and a black one, and one was in Innistrad and was the other in Dark Ascension? Or another? Yeah, anyway. I know they came out around the same time. Omnath, Locus of Mana, that was World Wake. Una, Queen of the Fae, yep, Shadowmoor. Progenitus was in Conflux. Rafik of the Many, another Shards of Alara card. Sharoom the Hegemon, Shards of Alara. San Juan, Lord of Wu. Portal 3 Kingdoms. Teferi, Mage of Zalfir, was in Time Spiral. Ulamog the Infinite Jar, of course, Rise of the Eldrazi, and Visara the Dreadful from Onslaught. Okay. Now what's interesting, and this is what I love about Shards of Alara, if you haven't taken a look at Shards of Alara in a long while, take a look at it. That set, that whole block, there's just loads of really interesting cards in there, like on lots of different levels. Wow, wasn't that cool? I'm glad I dug that out. That's a long time since I've looked at those. Thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in a future episode.